project led by my colleagues, Mr. Eugenio Capasso and Mr. Nikolai Dimitrov. And without further ado, please allow me to turn the presentation to Mr. Nikolai Dimitrov.
Thank you, Jose. Thanks for the brief introduction. Nice to meet you all. My name is Nikolai Dimitrov. I'm the Global Talent Acquisition Head for the Menarini Group. Before we begin, considering obviously this is an international setting, and we have, I'm sure, predominantly a lot of talent from a lot of students from Spain and from various parts of Spain. But maybe as we'll be using the chat function later on to do a lot of questions, perhaps just to get to know you a little bit, if you guys don't mind just telling me a little bit in the chat where you're from, just to get an understanding of the demographics and geographies of where people are coming from. I will start. My origins are from Bulgaria. Having said that, I spent the last 15 years of my life in London, in the UK, where I worked. And where there I spend a lot of my time basically starting in consultancy, but then I moved into the pharmaceutical industry, and I worked for a couple of American biotechs before I actually moved into Menarini in July of 2020, and then eventually relocated to Florence in Italy. But yeah, if you let us know where you're from, it'll be nice to understand where everyone's coming from. So perhaps we can tailor the presentation even more. But I will continue while we wait for people's answers. I will continue. So today you'll hear a bit about us, about who we are, and the history of Menarini. Later on, then we'll present to you the Corporate Innovation and Program Office Department and Mr. Eugenio Capasso. And at the end of the day, at the end of the presentation, we'll talk about a project and hence why we're here today. And that's the details of our early careers project. And I see a lot of responses already. Jordi, Anna, Victor, everyone is from Barcelona. We have Nerea from the Basque Country, great. Fantastic. Tarragona, Deltebre, fantastic. Menorca, excellent. Great. So predominantly a Spanish or predominantly a Catalan community with a lot of different people. So nice to meet you all. Thank you for the participation, and we look forward to answering your questions later. So later on, we'll finish the presentation with a Q&A, where of course myself, Nikolai Dimitrov, and Eugenio Capasso will be answering questions. But as our colleagues said before, if you have any questions that perhaps you feel a bit shy in English, maybe you can ask in Catalan or in Spanish, and we'll endeavor to answer them anyway. So let's move on to the next page. Serena, thank you. I'll start with a brief introduction of Menarini. Now, Menarini is a company with a very strong legacy and a strong history. We were founded in 1886 by a pharmacist called Archimede Menarini, and we were founded in Napoli, in Italy, in southern Italy. With the years, as the company grew, as the company and demand for products grew, due to supply chain reasons, Archimede Menarini decided to relocate the company in Florence, which we did in 1915. And to this day, our global headquarters are established in the beautiful city of Florence. So, next page, please. Great. From the beginning, we started with a slow-ish local expansion. And through the decades, obviously, the company became stronger and stronger in Italy, when eventually, in the 60s, we decided to truly internationalize. And actually, our international presence began with the opening of Laboratorios Menarini in Spain, in Barcelona, followed later on by the acquisition of the opening of our offices in Greece, Portugal, and then Central America, and later on France. The next few decades were relatively slow when it comes to internationalization, but in the 70s we opened a very important for us research and development department, and we continue to invest in our internal organic growth. Having said that, then our true internationalization actually began with the very, very important acquisition of the ex-GDR company Berlin Chemie in early 90s. Berlin Chemie to this day is a very, very important part of our business, and it gave us entry to Germany and Central Eastern Europe. The internationalization continued. Sarah, please, you can move on to the next slide. We opened up obviously our Menarini biotech presence, but then in the 2000s, we really continued to expand strongly into Asia Pacific. Then later on, we acquired Silicon Biosystems, which gave us a real stronghold into diagnostics and innovative technologies for liquid biopsies. And then moving on, of course, as you can see, cell research. And last but not least, very important, in 2020, we concluded the acquisition of American biotech called Stemline. And that acquisition was done completely and fully during the time of lockdown. So no travels, no physical presence, no nothing. Stemline gave us a real strong entrance and foothold into the American markets. And now we're in the process of obviously integration. And really working with our Stemline colleagues to expand and really basically reinforce our presence in the US. So this is a little bit about our brief history. Then if you could move to the next slide, I can tell you. So as you can see, our turnover has been expanding steadily throughout the years. And most recently, our reported turnovers in 2020 are 3.75 billion euros. That puts us in 32nd position in the world and 15th in Europe. I don't even, as you can see, I don't even need the presentation. I know it by heart now. Yeah, so here, when it comes to our presence in the world, going back to what I was saying earlier about the internationalization, we are truly present across most countries in the world, namely 140 countries worldwide. Most of it is through affiliates and local operating companies of ours, but some of those countries are covered by distributors and different franchises. If you move to the next slide, please. Yes, we have 18 production plants. Manufacturing is a very, very important aspect of our business, and we truly invest and constantly ensure the incredible quality of our products, and that's why we invest strongly in our manufacturing sites. And we have 18 production plants across the globe. In terms of the next slide, we will talk about our research and development centers. We have 10 across the world. One is in Barcelona, in fact. We have, of course, a strong presence in Italy, but apart from that, we have strong presence, of course, in Germany, Asia, as well as North America. And in our R&D centers, we have over 900 employees. Moving on. Again, these numbers show a great trajectory of our growth. People are in the center of everything for us. And actually, if you guys ever have the opportunity to look into our website, people in the center of everything is one of our main values as a company. And as you can see, we're continuously growing in that field. Currently, we have, I think that those numbers have changed. They're closer to the 18,000 right now, but in 2020, we have reported a number of employees of 17,650. And very importantly, for us, investing into highly skilled professionals and growing our highly skilled professionals is very important. And as you can see today, more than 91% of our employees are highly skilled professionals, namely people with higher education, engineers, pharmacists, etc. Very good. In 2020, we were ranked as Italy's fourth. We took fourth place as the most attractive employer in 2020 in Italy. And we continue to strive for these kinds of awards and recognitions, and we continue to build our presence in that field. Great. So, without further ado, I told you a little bit about our company, and of course, we're here to answer any questions you might have about the company and our organization. But now I'd like to present to you our very own Mr. Eugenio Capasso, who will tell you a bit about his organization, his department, and why we're here today. So thanks very much. Eugenio, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nikolai. Hi, everybody. Thanks very much for having invited me. Very happy to be here. So this is me. I actually finished my university in the last century. And actually was a meeting like this one when I came to know, in a meeting like this one, the people from Accenture came presenting themselves, and I was so, intrigued and happy that I asked to join Accenture at the time. And I spent 25 years there doing extremely interesting consulting jobs, taking different responsibilities, international-wise, working with almost all the pharmaceutical companies worldwide, including Almiral. So I came to Spain several times in my previous life. And then almost 9 years ago, I have been asked to join Menarini. So I joined in 2013. So go to the next slide, please, Serena. The reason why we think this is an incredible, exciting period to be in our industry, which is the life sciences industry, because the industry is changing significantly. There are a number of factors that you probably notice by reading the newspaper or looking around yourself that the industry is changing significantly. There are a number of topics. First of all, everybody is almost wearing devices which are becoming more and more sophisticated and more close to really medical devices and tracking everything in your body with a certified index, right? So which have been certified and validated. And more on top of this data, companies are applying artificial intelligence solutions in order really to provide to patients and also to physicians a new way of reading data, identify potential devices, or anticipate and even do prevention. There is a very interesting new area which is evolving right now in Europe, especially, which is called digital therapeutics, meaning that now authorities recognize that software can help your health. And so even in some countries, like in Germany, for instance, and now also in France and UK, the doctors can really prescribe software, and the authorities reimburse software. So this is putting completely the business and the industry in a new area, in a new dimension. And for this reason, also the big technology companies are entering in our market. You read it probably about Apple, of course, that Apple is investing in the devices to become more and more sophisticated, but Google has its own pharmaceutical company, which is called Verily. And Amazon is investing a lot in changing our industry, even delivering the single pills and medicine to each single house. And then, of course, everything has been accelerated by the pandemic. So everybody thinks, and all the analysts are quite, all agree that our industry is going through a transformation like the book industry, like the music industry, like the travel industry went a few years ago. So this is the great place to be if somebody wants to really live the innovation. Right? So if you go to the next slide, Serena, that's my role. So I'm head of innovation and program office. So my goal and my organization role is to help the Menarini group to transform, to change, to manage understanding the innovation, pilot innovation, and implement innovation and transformation in the group. So my role is actually to design and also execute a program of transformation and innovation. Next, please, Serena. So let's just give some few examples of projects that we have done and we are doing. So for instance, we are implementing digitalization in any single side of our organization, transforming traditional way of working with papers, using new technology in order to eliminate papers, to speed up all processes and so forth. We have implemented in our organization collaboration tools in order to let people in all the 140 countries in the world to work together as if they were in the same office, right? This is a tremendous transformation on the way we are working as a multinational company, that you can really talk to your colleague and work with your colleague the same in a seamless way, the same way that with your colleagues in the office close to yours. We are piloting the digital therapies, as I mentioned before. We are on top of that, so we're trying to piloting. We are managing our social and digital channels from the institutional website that, of course, we have designed and implemented, but also the social channels that we are using. We are piloting also artificial intelligence. I have in my team somebody focusing on artificial intelligence in healthcare that is helping to find a way to really use artificial intelligence to help diagnosis. We are also working a lot in understanding how to use the data that are coming from everywhere to really help our business, understanding how the business is evolving and the actions to be taken. And then, of course, our field force, which are the field reps, the medical reps that go in to the physician to present our products, they have some very sophisticated digital tools in order to show visuals, to collect information in a very innovative way. And we are responsible to implement the solution and to gradually improve the solution using all the technology available. Next, please. These are programs that are currently ongoing, and also Nicola and Serena will explain that we are looking for colleagues in this area. We are now, for instance, implementing our ERP solution, which is the backbone really of all the operations, right? The so-called ERP system is the system that manages all the financial transactions, the inventory transactions. So it's the backbone of everything we do. We are implementing globally in all the 140 countries. We are also implementing more and more reporting and performance systems in order to really control how our business is evolving. And we're also reinforcing project and program management methodology and team, because more and more we have projects to do, and we need to have people that are helping to implement projects successfully. In the next weeks or months, there are other additional projects that we are launching that we will need some help. Is the new manufacturing plant that we are building close to Florence. Will be completely new, very innovative. So we need people to help us designing and implementing solutions there. We are keeping implementing digital therapist pilots. So we need people helping there, and also. Probably you heard about the open innovation concept, that we do innovation not only doing internally, but also be in frequent contact with the startups in order to understand what is happening in the market, in order to understand and maybe partner with startups and create innovation in the company. Next, please. So we are looking for people, right? We are looking for young colleagues, young professionals, and we are looking for people that are not afraid to be challenged. Because you do innovation if you are curious, if you are brave enough to be challenged, to try things new, and have curiosity. Because at the end of the day, innovation is happening around us. We need to be curious to understand and study what is happening around, and understanding how we can bring this innovation inside the company. So we are looking for you guys. So I hope that you will find this interesting, and you will wish to join us. Saying that, I leave the floor to Nicolai again and to Serena.
Thank you, Eugenio. So, with that context in mind, let us tell you a little bit about our early careers project. So, early careers is something quite new for us in Menarini. Historically, we've done quite a bit of it in different pockets of the organization locally, but we've never done it on an international way. So what we really want to do is we are really interested in bringing an international selection of profiles. Hence why we are reaching out to engineers, engineering and economics graduates from Europe's best universities and speaking to them because we want to provide an international opportunity for those people. And in terms of context, what we are looking to provide is a 12-month early careers program or / graduate program. You may be familiar with that term. We of course provide training on the job, help you develop your soft skills and obviously business related soft skills. And of course, we'll provide you continuous support with progress meetings and trainings and things like that. But in terms of, to add more details to that, let's go to the next slide. So what's in it for you? What's in it for you is an excellent learning experience where you can take on a variety of professional challenges. As I said before, 12-month working experience, being part of a highly innovative team. And actually, there's a particular reason why we selected Eugenio to join us in this initial journey. This is a pilot for us, and we're looking to continue to invest in young people. But Eugenio's department was very important as an important starting point because we truly believe that his organization can be a great incubator for fantastic early talent. So the idea is for talents to join us in January 22, and they'll be based in, of course, in Florence, Italy. Of course, there's certain challenges that we are facing with the current climate, but nevertheless, we'll solve these and we'll look for solutions around those, and ultimately, we want to have this offer this international experience for you guys. Last but not least, the initial agreement is for 12 months with the Menarini group, but ultimately, we want to basically give opportunities to the absolute best of you guys to actually remain with us and have a future career opportunities with us beyond that 12 months. Okay, great. Now this is a bit of a graph to show you a bit about the process. But yeah, when it comes to the recruitment process, you go through an initial application, which will be evaluated. You have an opportunity to have a digital video interview with talent acquisition, which is myself and my colleague Serena and others, as well as the hiring manager, which is obviously Eugenio and his group. Last but not least, we'll go through a business case type of interview. And then eventually the selected candidates will be offered the job and onboarded into Menarini. Great. So in line with the ongoing projects that Eugenio was talking about earlier, we actually have 3 currently live opportunities, again, for young talents to join us within the 3 areas on the left, SAP implementation, reporting system and project management. And then on the right, you can see the education profiles we're looking for. So for SAP, we're looking for computer engineering backgrounds. For the reporting system, we're looking for backgrounds such as management engineering, economics, informatics, project management, management engineering, and mathematics. And now on the right, these are the upcoming projects. I see people are losing interest in the mathematics side. On the right, we have the upcoming projects that Eugenio was talking about, to do with obviously the manufacturing plant, digital therapeutics, and open innovation. These are not fully live yet, but will be coming up very, very soon. And we'll be accepting applications for those as soon as they're open. But nevertheless, in the next slide, in the upcoming slides, we'll tell you about how to apply. And that's very easy. Basically, you can apply by reaching out to my lovely colleague, Serena Milanesi, who has kindly managed this presentation for us. And when you reach out to her, you can just quote the position you're interested in, the actual department you're interested in. And we'll, of course, then arrange the next steps from there. But for now, this is the base detail of this discussion, and we're here to answer any particular questions you might have. Don't be shy. I know the beginning usually is difficult, so whoever wants any questions, feel free to start asking them, and then and of course we'll answer anything you'd like to know. So who's going to break the ice? Who's going to do the first one? Great question to Eugenio. What changes moving from?
I saw it. Thank you. You know, after 25 years of consulting, you experience the so-called consulting disease. So at the end of the day, you do a lot of projects, but not for yourself. You do it for a client. You convince the client. You do for the client. As soon as the project is finished, you leave, right? So I really wanted to do it and stay, do something for my team, for my company. So that's what actually convinced me to move from Accenture to Menarini. And I have to say that this is beautiful to do something that you can do it, changing the way your colleagues are working. You can leave the change internally rather than from a consultant, which I mean goes, do, and then leave. I hope I respond to your question.
So Eric Bonnet, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, asks, what's the way that me, a naval engineer, can fit in this purpose?
But first of all, I mean, I'm an engineer and I'm an electronic engineer. At the end of the day, I think that an engineer can do everything, right? Sorry to say, but at least I think we have been trained to do a lot of things. And the way we have studied to solve problems and to identify and design solutions, I think this is something that is, regardless which type of engineer you are, it helps. So if you have the passion really to work on innovation which is driven by digital, of course, if you are naval and you like a boat, I mean, that's the ships, there is nothing we can do. But if you like to apply what you have studied, really to change and to apply the digital transformation that we are living in a day by day or in any field, because we have research, but we have also manufacturing, where there's a lot of course, also on automation there. If you are interested in that, you can apply what you have learned in our daily work. And there are also engineering which are coming from other sectors. We are not only looking for computer sciences.
Thank you, Eugenio. Ariadna asked a question that I will answer. So for positions coming in the future, such as digital therapeutics, will it also start in January 22? Great question, Ariadna. So really depending on when the projects kick in, that's when these opportunities could start. As I mentioned, this is the first program of this sort that we're doing. But having said that, we are going to run this, at least the plan is like this so far, to run these opportunities at two different starts each year. So we can do one for as a January start and one for September start. So depending on when these projects come in, we'd look to provide opportunities and open them for applications as and when they come in. So the likelihood is, let's say, if if digital therapeutics, as per your question, comes in, I don't know, February, let's say, the opportunity will be to start later in the year. I hope that answers the question. Great. Victor, another question. Thanks for the participation, Victor. I think, Eugenio, this one's for you.
Yeah, there was on SAP, right? I was actually saw it quickly. Of course, I mean, we are not expecting that people joining from a university are already trained on SAP. So we are, of course, having induction programs to study the SAP at the beginning, of course, but the best way to learn is actually do it, right? So we do a training on the job continuously. Of course, a preliminary test, a train, and then, of course, training on the job.
Great question so far. Thanks for the participation, guys. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, so I mean, what we can do is certainly You have the contact details. Oh, Eric, okay. Should we send any type of curriculum or presentation letter or something? Absolutely. Sorry if I didn't mention. With your application, when you reach out to Serena, please do send your CV along with, of course, the area of your interest, and then we'll take it from there. We don't want to overcomplicate things with presentation letters or anything like that. Just your CV is enough, and then we'll start from there. But I was going to say earlier, for anyone who comes up with additional questions later on, you can absolutely reach out to Serena. You have her contact details, and Serena will very kindly answer any questions you might have. Great. If we are in our last year of university, can we take part in this project? Yes, depends on when you graduate. So our goal is to really bring people on board who have just graduated. Ultimately, we've all, on this side at least, we've all had the experience of trying to find a job after university, and we know that it's a painful process. And that transition from academic life to professional life can be challenging. So with this program, we're really aiming to help you guys make that transition. So if you're graduating in 2022, you can always take part in the second stream of applications for 22, which will be in September. So we can certainly consider your application to start in September 22. If you're graduating before that, certainly you can take part in the January stream. Joan, when are you graduating? Okay, so certainly you can take part in the stream of the second stream of 22. So what is the next step in the selection? Great, Ismail, thanks for the question. The next step really is just very simple. Reach out to Serena Milanesi. Sere, if you go back to the previous slide with your contact details. Great. Reach out to Serena Milanesi, sending her your CV along with the details of which particular area you're interested in, and that's it. Afterwards, we'll go through the applications and we'll select which candidates, which of you to interview. We'll, of course, interview you guys through a video presentation, video interview, and then, of course, we'll go through the rest of the process, which we outlined early on. Great. Maria Montserrat says, thanks for this info. You're welcome, Maria. It was a pleasure. Great. So I think there's been a lot of questions. Again, as I said, do not hesitate to reach out to Serena. And we can answer any additional questions you might have. I know the presentation, when it comes to the actual application, there's some details that we can elaborate on, but we certainly would like to do that in a telephone conversation or a video conversation that we have with you guys. So again, if there's any additional details that you'd like to know more about, reach out to us and we'll take it from there. But in the meantime, I think we can end here. I'd like to say thank you all for the attention and the interest in this presentation, and we look forward to seeing your applications and speaking with you later in the year. Okay. Thank you. So, Julie and the rest of the university team, thank you all for arranging this and making it happen. It was a pleasure meeting you and speaking to you today, and we look forward to working with you again in the future.